Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the Democrats really tried hard to flip the script on the GOP, hoping they could hoodwink the masses into focusing on these phony scandals surrounding the Trump administration in a clear and deliberate effort to distract from their own failures, because really, that's been the focus over the last 4 years. How much of an absolute mess everything the Democrats touch is. And well, it seems Governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is feeling that heat. And so you know exactly what that means. The act is on and somebody's getting thrown under the bus that isn't Gavin Newsom. Oh, I got this clip to show you guys. This guy with the slick back hair is a straight up fraud. Let me show you guys this interesting Gavin Newsom moment. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with this little doozy right over here. Who's been the governor of California for the last almost 6 years? Ding ding ding, that's Governor Gavin Newsom. And which governor of California, over the last 5-6 years, oversaw the worst homelessness crisis in the nation's history, while spending record-breaking amounts on the issue of homelessness? Ding ding ding, that's Governor Gavin Newsom. But according to him, yeah, he's still trying to find the culprit and bring those people to account. Holy frickin' moly.
I'm not interested. I'm just not, as a taxpayer, not just governor, I'm not interested in funding failure anymore. Time to do your job. People are dying on their watch. How do people get reelected? Look at these encampments. They're a disgrace. They've been there years and years and years and years. I've heard that same rhetoric for years. People are dying. Kids are being born. Overdoses. I met a young man, literally, was out there doing Project Homeless Connect, reaching out near the 405 freeway. I found out the next day he was dead. In the name of compassion, because we had a notice. I could have helped him that night. I felt like a fraud. I felt like I let him down. We got to be more aggressive. I saw a young child, a young kid in San Diego. He was with the mayor of San Diego right before his State of the State. This poor kid was addicted to meth. He was a wonderful kid. And he said, "I'm really glad you came." He goes, "I'm struggling." And there in the tent with his wife was a newborn baby. He said, "Thank you for coming." There's no compassion in denying what the hell's going on in the streets and sidewalks. They need to step up. Enough of the rhetoric. I'm serious. Enough of the rhetoric. People are dying in this state. It is a disgrace. It is one of the principal reasons people are so angry. They don't trust politicians. They don't like what they see. I'm sorry to get so intense about it. It's a moral issue. They need to do their job. And if they can't do it, let me know. Just say, "We give up." And then we'll intervene. We'll come up with different strategies and different approaches. But I'm sick and tired of all the barriers and all the BS.
What an absolute grift that is. How could these people be getting elected time and time again? Yeah, Gavin Newsom's doing what he does best, shifting his color like a damn political chameleon, trying to throw somebody else under the bus, shift the lens of focus onto literally anybody but himself, even though he's the guy who's made tackling homelessness as the leader of the state his #1 issue.
And if we're going to solve the problem of those that are out on the streets that we define as homeless, we better solve the housing problem if we're going to have an impact. And that's why we established this framework, what we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
The state needs to step up and step in, particularly in the area of homelessness.
I say this about homelessness, which is an issue. The ultimate manifestation of our failure as a society is demonstrable on our streets. Homelessness absolutely can be solved. I know that homelessness can be solved. It is our cause, it's our calling. Let's all rise to the challenge and make California stand up as an exemplar of what true courage and compassion can achieve.
Tens upon tens of billions of taxpayer dollars spent on this very issue, and he's got nothing to show for it. They've spent massive money on pilot programs meant to build tiny homes or affordable housing, spending untold millions. They've pretty much got nothing to show for it. The whole thing's been one woke pilot program after another, all of them leading to dead ends and accomplishing literally nothing except for lining the pockets of these useless California grifter bureaucrats. And it's all been coming to light over the last couple of years. This guy's basically made the state unlivable, but now instead of taking responsibility for any of it, instead of taking the heat, he wants somebody else to take the heat. He wants to focus on other people, and he wants to shift as he always does, like a damn sociopath, and make it seem as if he's infuriated with the whole process. Who did this? It's literally you. What an absolute joke and what an insult to our intelligence. And it's funny how now all of a sudden Gavin Newsom is appalled and outraged at the state of the homelessness crisis. But what's ironic is over the last 6 years, he's literally the guy who's been defending his track record and promoting California as some sort of left-wing utopia vision, utopia success story, the bastion of progressivism. So I guess in the end, this is an admission of guilt. Yeah, the problem is as bad as we've been saying. But the worst problem of all is that the guy who's in charge of getting the job done, well, he's a complete slimy gremlin who takes zero accountability for any of it going wrong. Gavin Newsom's also been facing some heat over his decision recently to provide free healthcare for illegal migrants, which instantly put the state in a position where they were facing massive budget deficits. Well, now as his failure has been cemented, the question is Gavin Newsom taking responsibility and pivoting on the issue? Well, kind of. Certainly pivoting, but not taking any responsibility. No, pretty much blaming Donald Trump.
We were off. We were significantly off.
On Wednesday, Governor Gavin Newsom admitted the state was wrong when he initially predicted back in January the state would have a $363 million surplus in the state budget. Newsom is now blaming the Trump administration's actions for the lack of incoming revenue, calling it a, quote, Trump slump.
We're going to see an impact about a $16 billion downturn, not all in the next fiscal year, but fiscal year plus one.
Governor Newsom says the state is now facing an $11.9 billion deficit with a $321.9 billion budget and $15.7 billion in reserves. The governor's office wants to do several things, including using billions from the state's rainy day fund and even negotiating state workers' pay.
The intent is really to avoid increased costs in the upcoming fiscal year, and is not to implement furloughs or PLPs or those type of things.
The governor is also proposing changes to Medi-Cal.
$5 billion on a freeze on our Medi-Cal expansion. We're not cutting or rolling back those that are enrolled.
This would apply to those receiving Medi-Cal regardless of immigration status. The governor is proposing a $100 premium for undocumented immigrants, and the freeze would apply to new adult applicants older than 19.
We're just capping it, particularly for those without documentation.
In response, Republican lawmakers say the state cannot continue to provide Medi-Cal services to people without documentation.
It's not that we spent billions upon billions on illegal migrants, which was clearly reckless and fiscally irresponsible. It's the Trump tariffs. I don't know who the hell is buying this and how this guy manages to keep his career intact. Actually, as I'm saying that, I'm going right back to the quote, wondering how these politicians are getting reelected over and over again.
How do people get reelected?
Who is reelecting these people? This guy clearly will say whatever he needs to say to protect himself in the moment. He'll flip and flop back and forward, hoping that everyone has the memory of a goldfish and people can't remember the basic facts of his governing. And I think really Gavin Newsom's decline in the situation is emblematic of the party as a whole. The jig is clearly up. Democrats tried their little distraction play, but the 2024 election remains a referendum on their leadership. They simply have to answer for their failures. They have to address it. They have to pivot, and they're getting exposed as complete sleazeballs in the process. Nobody's buying this crap anymore. Gavin Newsom has run out of goodwill. There's no more benefit of the doubt for this guy. And it's funny because I keep hearing that he's going to run for president. He's the best shot the Democrats got. Gavin Newsom's not running for president. Gavin Newsom is running for his political life. The guy represents a political brand that is radioactive across the nation. He's the punchline. He's the cautionary tale. And now he's clearly trying to pull a fast one on us, but I don't think it's working. No, frankly, I think it's making things worse. There's nobody else to blame other than you, Gavin Newsom. I think everybody sees it and you're running out of places to hide. You're running out of people to scapegoat. California Governor Gavin Newsom's career is hanging on by a thread. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.